She has brought millions, I wouldn't be surprised if it's billions of eyes onto the W and onto women's sports. She is a Kobe Bryant. And that's how Diana was. That's how Sue was. Like, we've had these types of people, but this is just bigger because the media platform is bigger than it ever has been. I don't have an ego, so I'm able to just tell the truth. Like, if it was someone else, I'd be like, yeah, like Angel Reese, she's also brought millions of fans. You know what I mean? I think Caitlyn has brought way more, but I also think she has too. Like, I'm just not naive, and I might be blonde, but I'm not fucking dumb. People who say I'm a clout chaser, no, I'm just being honest about why the league is where it is at. Give the girls the flowers, like, give it to them. They deserve it.
What Sophie Cunningham did in 46 seconds flat didn't just change one basketball game. It exposed an entire league's dirty secret. While the WNBA desperately tried to maintain its carefully crafted image of unity and progression, one woman grabbed the reins and revealed the ugly truth festering beneath the surface. This isn't just about a hard foul or a heated moment on the court. This is about a systemic targeting campaign against the very player who resurrected a dying league and the one veteran who finally had enough of the hypocrisy. What Sophie Cunningham started would unravel a web of jealousy, institutional failure, and cultural resistance that threatened to destroy the WNBA from within just as it was finally achieving mainstream success.
Cunningham, if it wasn't for Sophie Cunningham's podcast, I never would have had this eureka moment. Sophie Cunningham came to the Indiana Fever in the offseason. She's been taking full advantage of every opportunity she's gotten. An opportunity on the court, ballin'. An opportunity to protect Caitlin Clark, did that. Off the court, endorsement deals. Off the court, advertisers are falling in love with her. We got Colin Cowherd saying, hey, Sophie, you want your own podcast? Sophie Cunningham says, sure, I'll take my own podcast. And what has Sophie Cunningham been doing on this podcast? Letting us in on some secrets? Yeah, I love that. Pulling back the curtain on some time? Yeah, I love that too.
The truth about what really happens behind closed doors in WNBA locker rooms is about to be exposed, and it's not what the league wants you to hear. Before we dive deeper into this shocking story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because what we're about to reveal will change how you see the WNBA forever.
Why does everybody hate Caitlin Clark? And do you hate Caitlin Clark? Come on, talk
dude.
to me.
Absolutely not. I think that she's a gem. I didn't know her, but All-Star Weekend, we kind of bantered back and forth a little bit. And she's lovely. She has a lot of pressure on her shoulders. And I think a lot of people always have a lot to say with people they don't even know or shoes they've never been in. And for me, I think she's handling the pressure very well. She's doing a lot of great things for women's basketball. And I'm a fan.
The moment that changed everything occurred with just 46 seconds remaining on the game clock. Julie Van Loo of the Washington Mystics stole the ball and headed for what should have been an uncontested layup. What happened next wasn't basketball. It was a message delivered through the language of physicality that the WNBA had become too comfortable speaking. Sophie Cunningham didn't just foul Van Loo. She wrapped her up and dragged her to the floor with a force that resonated far beyond the arena. This wasn't random aggression. This was calculated response to months of watching her teammate Caitlin Clark get targeted, hacked, and abused while league officials turned a blind eye. The arena erupted. Social media exploded. Within 24 hours, Cunningham's followers skyrocketed from hundreds of thousands to over 1.2 million across platforms.
Ultimately, when you see all this vitriol of people who cannot stand her, it's like, okay, well, what has she done wrong? She's a great basketball player, so you might not think it's fair that she's the face of the league, and that's understandable because there have been fantastic players in the WNBA for a long time. But Caitlin didn't disparage them. She just came in and kind of changed the game with her style. So I think it's one of those things where you have to say, okay, maybe I don't think it's fair based on the previous women who have been in this league, but it's not Caitlin's fault. All she's done is elevate the game for all of us. And I think instead of being pissed off about that, you should be appreciative of that and say, maybe it's not fair, but it's not your fault.
And I get other players, like they've worked hard and they've worked to build this league up over their time. And all of a sudden this young player comes in and now
The public wasn't just celebrating the defense of a player. They were celebrating someone finally having the courage to do what the league itself had refused to do, protect its golden goose. But this single incident was merely the flashpoint of a much larger systemic problem. What Sophie Cunningham would later reveal on her podcast would shock even the most cynical basketball observers. I know the talks at Phoenix had in the locker room of like, no, we're going to prove her. We're going to show her what the W really is. These weren't casual comments between teammates. This was coordinated targeting sanctioned by team culture. The statistics prove this wasn't normal rookie hazing.
I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of like, no, we're going to prove her, we're going to show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And like, I get it to a certain extent. And like every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're going to treat them. But there's just more for her. So it's her second year. And like now being on her team and like seeing it, I'm like, what are people doing? Like, actually, it's just too much. And like, it's just, I'm over. And if I'm saying it's too much, then it's probably too much.
No, that's so fair.
Like, that's fair, right?
While all first-year players face increased physicality, Clark was taking hits at a rate unprecedented in league history. Through her first 15 games, Clark was subjected to hard fouls at triple the rate of any other rookie in the past decade. The league's response? Fining Clark for her reactions while lightly punishing those targeting her. When Clark was poked in the eye by JCS Sheldon and then shoved to the ground by Marina Mabry, the referees somehow assessed Clark with a technical foul while her attackers received minimal punishment.
Time and time again, Sophie Cunningham has repeatedly been calling out the officiating. And what's one thing the WNBA holds over these players' heads? Ooh, I'm gonna fine you. Ooh, if you call out the officiating, I'm gonna fine you. And the players say, no, I can't afford that. So they keep it all hush-hush. But Sophie Cunningham, she's sitting on a pile of money. So when Kathy Engelbert hears her say something about the referees, Kathy says, here's a fine. And Sophie says, okay, here's...
The message was clear. The league would rather punish the victim than address the culture. What makes Sophie Cunningham's defense so remarkable isn't just its timing. It's the fact that she was praising Caitlin Clark when her own Phoenix Mercury teammates were plotting against her. Cunningham's support wasn't some Johnny-come-lately bandwagon jumping for clout or clicks. This was consistent admiration from someone who recognized greatness when others refused to see it. Absolutely not. I think that she's a gem, Cunningham stated publicly when others were whispering behind closed doors. She's doing a lot of great things for women's basketball, and I'm a fan.
You know, she has changed our game in the best possible way in every way. And so just to be alongside of her and maybe relieve the pressure, being able to shoot and spread the court for her to go do her thing. She's still young, and I think that I've been taken under, Diana took me under her wing, and I've learned a lot from her, and now I hope to kind of do the same for Caitlin if she wants it. I just think the relationship piece is huge, and when you're trying to do something great, it takes everybody, and so I want her to go do her thing, and anything she needs from me, I'm going to be here. But again, I think that like just the competitor that I am, I'm fierce, I'm sassy, I stick up for my teammates, I stick up for myself.
While other WNBA players were voting Clark as the 9th best point guard in the league despite her leading all players with over 1.2 million fan votes, Cunningham was already calling her a gem and expressing her desire to play alongside her. This wasn't after Clark had proven herself beyond any doubt. This wasn't after the ratings came in or the attendance figures were tallied. This was when Clark was still getting targeted by veterans who couldn't handle the spotlight she was bringing to their struggling league.
It just feels like people are jealous of this new little wave of...
They are, but I just hate that because, like, this is what we've always wanted as a league. So, like, who cares who gets the credit? And if you're smart, you're making money off of them.
Yeah.
Like, you are literally making money from the viewership.
And what she made the chirp was about how she didn't help plan the fucking
Who cares?
shirts.
Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I just hate when, like, people do stuff to get... It's like clickbait.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and there's so much clickbait, especially surrounding Caitlin. And so, like... It's just like, just be nice. Like, why can't people just be nice?
Yeah.
That's what I don't, coming from the girl who
I was just saying we just
drugs
talked for 2 hours
down.
about how you fucking beat someone up.
Just be nice. It's not that hard.
The financial implications of this resistance reveal the stunning short-sightedness of Clark's detractors. Caitlin Clark has generated more interest, attendance, and revenue for women's basketball than any player in the sport's history. Her presence has transformed television ratings, with Fever Games averaging 1.178 million viewers, compared to just 394,000 for other WNBA games, nearly triple the audience.
Caitlin has, that's where players would be wise to kind of uplift Caitlin even more, or try and catapult her, because it only does wonders for the league. Like, they are able to wear "pay me what you owe me" shirts because they're getting a new TV rights deal because of Caitlin Clark. So
Right.
like there's so many sides to this, but like at the end of the day, it's what's best for the league and it's what's best for these players individually. If Caitlin Clark kind of continues.
Cities are moving games to larger venues to accommodate the crowd she draws. Merchandise sales have increased 236% league-wide since her arrival. The upcoming media rights negotiation is expected to yield at least triple the current $60 million annual value, thanks primarily to the attention Clark has brought. The players wearing "Pay Me What You Owe Me" shirts will ironically owe their future salary increases to the very player they're refusing to protect. As Cunningham astutely noted, they are able to wear "Pay Me What You Owe Me" shirts because they're getting a new TV rights deal because of Caitlin Clark. The business truth is undeniable. Protecting Clark isn't just about fairness. It's about protecting the financial future of every player in the league.
Never saw it coming. They went and got Sophie Cunningham, 6-year-old black belt. This is what the Bulls did with Charles Oakley to protect Michael Jordan. And I said this last year several times. The WNBA is not a vertical league. Their players can't jump over each other to score like the NBA. It's a horizontal chippy league. And you didn't watch the NBA for the last 10 to 12 years. It has always been physical and always been chippy. You get into a lot of collisions because there's no Ja Morant here. There's no Ant Edwards. They don't jump over. It's a horizontal physical league. And in Caitlin Clark now is like kerosene to the physicality flame. So you have physicality in this league, and now you get this flashy player, and they don't know how to officiate her, they don't know how to defend her.
The jealousy fueling this resistance becomes obvious when examining the all-star voting patterns. When WNBA players cast their votes and ranked Clark ninth among guards despite her leading all players in fan votes, it revealed everything wrong with the league's mentality. Veterans who had spent years building the league couldn't stomach that a rookie was transforming it in months. Dick Vitale called it absolutely pure jealousy, and the evidence supports his claim. The pattern extends beyond voting. It's in the dismissive comments, the eye rolls during interviews, the subtle and not-so-subtle digs about privilege and marketing. What these veterans fail to acknowledge is that Clark isn't just a marketing phenomenon. She's an exceptional basketball talent who has expanded the audience rather than taking share from existing fans. As Cunningham put it, it literally pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league. When people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb. This is an opinion. It's mathematical reality. This resistance to change reveals a deeper cultural problem within the WNBA, one that has plagued the league since its inception. The WNBA has historically struggled with marketing its stars, often prioritizing collective identity over individual brilliance. When a player like Clark comes along who naturally attracts mainstream attention, the league's culture doesn't know how to respond. There's an inherent distrust of players who bring new audiences to the game, as if their popularity somehow diminishes those who came before. This cultural resistance is compounded by the fact that Clark doesn't fit the traditional mold of WNBA stars in multiple dimensions. Her playing style, her background, and her demographic profile all represent change to a league that has often valued conformity. The tragedy is that the very diversity the league claims to celebrate somehow doesn't extend to diversity of playing style or fan base attraction. Cunningham's defense represents a breakthrough in this cultural stalemate, a veteran player willing to say what everyone should be thinking. This is what we've always wanted as a league. So who cares who gets the credit? What's often missed in this narrative is the silent majority of players and fans who support Clark but fear speaking out. Behind the scenes, numerous players agree with Cunningham but remain quiet to avoid locker room tension or professional repercussions. The social media narrative doesn't reflect the actual sentiment in the league. It reflects the sentiment of the most vocal detractors. Meanwhile, fans are voting with their wallets and viewership, making Clark the most popular player by every measurable metric. Sponsors are quietly aligning with Clark's popularity while maintaining public neutrality to avoid league friction. This silent majority represents the future of the WNBA, those who understand that growth requires embracing change rather than resisting it. As Cunningham noted, if you're smart, you're making money off of them. You are literally making money from a viewership. The business-savvy players understand this fundamental truth, even if they're not saying it publicly. The silent consensus extends far beyond what cameras capture or microphones pick up in private conversations during off-season workouts and away from the intense scrutiny of the public eye. Many players actually appreciate what Clark's presence means for their livelihoods and the sport's future. They see sold-out arenas that were half empty just a year ago. They noticed the national media setting up cameras at practices that would have been ignored Previously, they recognize that their jersey sales have increased even if they aren't the one leading the charts. These athletes understand the basic economics at play. A rising tide lifts all boats, and Clark's arrival has created a tsunami of opportunity that benefits everyone in the league, whether they acknowledge it publicly or not. The psychology behind this silence reveals much about professional sports culture. Players who have spent years building camaraderie with teammates face social pressure to maintain unity, even when that unity means staying quiet about obvious truths. There's an unspoken code in locker rooms that prioritizes group cohesion over individual opinion, especially when those opinions might create division. Younger players particularly fear being ostracized or labeled as traitors to the league's established culture if they voice support for the phenomenon that Clark represents. This creates a fascinating dynamic where players might actually admire Clark's game and appreciate her impact while publicly maintaining neutral or even critical positions to avoid professional isolation. The fan perspective adds another layer to the silent majority phenomenon. While vocal critics dominate social media conversations, the actual numbers tell a completely different story. Attendance records are being broken in cities across the league whenever Clark visits. Television ratings for Fever games consistently triple the audience of other matchups. Merchandise sales featuring Clark's name and number outpace all other players combined. These aren't just statistics. They represent thousands of individual decisions made by fans who are voting with their wallets and remote controls. These fans may not be posting on Twitter or creating TikTok videos, but their collective economic power speaks louder than any social media outrage ever could. Sponsors and business partners operate in this space of quiet alignment as well. Major brands have significantly increased their investments in the WNBA since Clark's arrival, but they're doing so strategically to avoid appearing as if they're favoring one player over others. This creates a fascinating dance where companies benefit from Clark's popularity without explicitly attaching their branding to her alone. They'll create league-wide initiatives that just happen to launch during Fever national broadcasts or design marketing campaigns that feature multiple players but prominently include the rookie sensation. This allows them to capture the expanded audience she brings while maintaining the diplomatic appearance of supporting the entire league. The most telling aspect of the silent majority might be how it manifests during actual games. Watch carefully when Clark makes an incredible pass or deep three-pointer in opposing arenas. You'll hear the crowd erupt in cheers that far exceed what would normally happen for an opposing player's great play. Notice how players from other teams will sometimes exchange impressed glances after particularly impressive Clark moments, even as they maintain their competitive game faces. These subtle reactions reveal the truth that transcends the public narrative. There's genuine appreciation for exceptional basketball happening here, even if it's not always verbally expressed. This dynamic creates a fascinating tension between public perception and private reality. The narrative of universal player resentment makes for compelling headlines and social media engagement, but it doesn't align with the actual experiences of those within the league. Players who have interacted with Clark personally often come away surprised by her humility and basketball IQ. Coaches who have game planned against her develop respect for her skills that transcends whatever public comments they might feel obligated to make. This disconnect between the private reality and public performance represents one of the most intriguing aspects of the entire situation. The business-savvy veterans understand something crucial that others might be missing. This moment represents the best opportunity they'll ever have to transform women's basketball into a sustainable, profitable career path for future generations. They remember the years of flying coach, playing in half-empty arenas, and working second jobs during the off-season. They see how Clark's presence has changed those realities almost overnight. These experienced players might not say it on camera, but they recognize that this is exactly what they've been fighting for throughout their careers: mainstream relevance, financial stability, and cultural impact. Their silence isn't necessarily agreement with the critics. It's often strategic patience waiting for the initial turbulence to settle so they can collectively advance toward a more prosperous future for all players. This silent majority will likely determine the long-term trajectory of the WNBA more than any vocal minority ever could. As the league continues to grow and evolve, these quiet supporters will gradually become more comfortable expressing their views. The economic incentives are simply too powerful to ignore indefinitely. Players who want to maximize their earning potential through endorsements and sponsorships will eventually recognize that alignment with growth and popularity serves their interests better than resistance to change. The narrative will naturally shift as more players realize that celebrating Clark's impact doesn't diminish their own accomplishments, but rather creates more opportunities for for everyone to succeed both on and off the court. The future of the WNBA now stands at a crossroads with two distinct paths forward. One path involves embracing the change that Clark represents, protecting superstars, celebrating expanded audiences, and building economic models around attracting casual fans rather than just satisfying existing ones. The other path involves resisting change, maintaining the status quo, protecting entrenched interests, and potentially missing the greatest opportunity in women's sport history. Sophie Cunningham's actions have forced this conversation into the open, creating a catalyst for cultural change that the league desperately needed. Her emergence as Clark's defender has given the WNBA a chance to course-correct before damaging its growth trajectory beyond repair. The question is whether league leadership will follow her example or continue down their current path of enabling jealousy and tolerating targeting. As Cunningham herself might say, the choice is simple. Protect your assets or watch them walk away. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the WNBA's cultural moment, hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to understand what's really happened behind the scenes. The story of Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark is ultimately about more than basketball. It's about how institutions respond to change, how cultures handle success, and how courage sometimes means standing against your own to protect what's right. Cunningham could have stayed quiet. She could have gone along with the crowd. She could have let the jealousy and resentment fester while pretending it was just rookie treatment. Instead, she chose to speak the truth, even when that truth made her former teammates and colleagues uncomfortable. In doing so, she didn't just protect a teammate, she protected the future of the league itself. The market has rewarded her courage with endorsement deals, podcast opportunities, and social media growth that far exceeds her WNBA salary. The lesson is clear. Integrity pays, both morally and financially. The WNBA now faces its own test of integrity. Will it follow Cunningham's example or continue down its self-destructive path? Time will tell. But thanks to Sophie Cunningham, the truth is finally out there. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the untold stories of sports culture that mainstream media won't show you.